What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down on what really prompted all this craziness, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi went down 4.01%, 15.59 the low, 16.57 the high. Good amount of volume though, so 47.6 million shares being traded, 44.9 is the average. Regrettably, a lot of the transactions that did occur in the volume came from institution selling as well as algorithmic trading. And so as soon as the market did open, you kind of knew something was off with SoFi, only because of PCE coming in line with expectations, both month over month and year over year. That really, the market took that information and ran with it. So a lot of growth stocks really kind of rallied based on that. And so the fact that SoFi didn't really do anything straight out the gate usually is a sign that maybe the larger entities did want it to go down. And so you can kind of see the string of selling. So this is what really killed and stopped any momentum right quick. 4.08 million, 1.4. So a lot of big transactions, and even near the tail end of the day, a lot of selling that was occurring today. But like I said, I think in general, it was just a very negative day for SoFi, which is weird because I don't see any articles, no new analyst ratings, nothing really to justify that. Maybe other than the fact that it's just rotation, people are looking at it, or maybe there's some other point that I'm not really aware of. But all in all, I think just the market really wanted to take down SoFi today. And then no actual news associated to SoFi itself, no SEC filings. I see a lot of people on social media just saying that it was shorts, a short attack, and that wasn't necessarily the case. So shorts only increased 1,000 shares today. 12.39% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 133.43 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost per average 0.5, and then utilization is 12.81. Throughout the morning though, you did see them increase, and then halfway through they kind of returned. So I think this blip right here where they did go up, that was them returning roughly around 1 million shares, and then they kind of just didn't do anything. They coasted. And so all of this was institutions selling, as well as, like I said, algorithmic trading. Had nothing to do with shorts. So shorts have been rather quiet for whatever reason, but still it's an interesting scenario. But a couple of things to go over. So there was 21 million in calls, 7.83 million in puts. 48% of all the options being done today were bearish in nature. A little bit higher volume though, so you had today 28.3, yesterday 21.1, 20 million. So good to see at least more volume, but looking at the put/call ratio, definitely is very one-sided towards being bearish. But one thing I do want to bring up, there was $2 million just between 11.05 and 11.10. So if we kind of pop this open and take a look at what really prompted this, there was one very large transaction and then a lot of smaller ones. Those smaller ones, all of them were pretty much bearish, ranging from 13 to roughly 15 in puts and calls. But again, based on the bid/ask where they were oriented, it's all majority bearish. That one big one right here of 893,000 in premiums, that one was bullish though, and that was a $13 put for March 21st, 2025. And so ultimately, in case you don't know why that is bullish, is ultimately if it does close above $13, they get to keep the premiums. If it does close below 13, then they buy the stock. So it is kind of a good essentially calling of the bottom or something like that, if that makes sense. But then again, all of these probably were one entity, and so you kind of have to factor in the bullish and bearishness. So they were definitely hedging quite a lot. And so yeah, you do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But like I've always stated in the past, I think SoFi has had a very nice run recently, but even based on a lot of the recent ratings, like it's not going to go up easily. It's trying to innovate one of the oldest sectors in the stock market. So essentially you're going to have a lot of pushback, and so a lot of that is being done as well through options. But quickly moving on, so of the call options that were purchased today, you see a consensus for it to be above 18 going into next week. So still a good amount of optimism for that. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 1450, and then with today being a Friday and we're with it closing at $15 and change, that does mean 4,000 at that 1550 and then 6,000 at that $15 strike price is considered in the money. Those are small numbers, not really going to see any blip or anything come Monday. Big amounts did expire worthless, so that's kind of the downside of doing options. So you had 15,000 at 6, 13,000 at 1650, or sorry, 16, not 6, 26,000 at 7, and so forth and whatever else. So yeah, that's again the downside of doing options, but market makers and shorts always have a financial interest in really suppressing SoFi. So maybe that is why SoFi straight out the gate didn't participate in any run, because maybe market makers didn't really want to buy it up or do anything. They just let it fall. Once again, that's wearing a little bit of a tinfoil hat, but let me know your viewpoint on that. With it closing at $15.78, it did close right above this pivot point. So 15.72 going into the next week, it's going to be a key support for you to really watch for it to hold. Flip side, 16.72 and then 17.34 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. And even what's very comical is post earnings, you now don't see, like, we still haven't seen this individual, David. So David has been silent for 3 months. So I'm waiting for him to come out with like a $2 price target. Maybe he was waiting for, I don't know, SoFi to break below that 50-day moving average and then for him to come out with that negative rating. I'm not really sure, but definitely it is very abnormal of him to take advantage of like a red day, for instance, and not give a rating. Or actually, I think this is the first earnings so far that he hasn't given a rating since I think like mid 2023. But moving on from here though, looking at the actual chart itself, so $15.70 is that 50-day moving average. So with it closing at 15.77, definitely that's going to be a key point to really watch for going into next week, because if it does fail to kind of hold and it breaks below that, historically you could see a little bit of a pullback, like a 30% 30 to 40% pullback. Again, that's based on historical data and whatever that 50-day moving average. So that's that yellow line right there. But overall though, I think it is what it is, right? SoFi was relatively overbought. So first sign of weakness, whether it be specific to SoFi or just the broader market, you were going to have some volatility. And what really like escalated the volatility for SoFi and just the broader market was this right here. So Trump will implement a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada, and then 10% on for China. So when it comes down to this, I think that Mexico and Canada, those tariffs were already tentatively priced in, even though some people were saying that it was more of a scare tactic still. I think the market was starting to price that in. The 10% for China, I think the market truly did feel that wasn't going to come, only because of a lot of Trump's comments previously. So I think that threw off the broader market. So again, that's what really caused an extra amount of volatility right here with SoFi, and just honestly, every stock just went down and down from here, like every single one. Actually, I didn't do all that. Which one did I pull up? UPS. So yeah, they all, regardless though, did go down in some fashion. So yeah, let me know your viewpoint on that. Couple of key points to really watch for going into next week. So 50-day moving average, as well as this support level, because if it does break below that, then 1473 is going to be the following support. So it's going to be a fun time ahead, but let me know your viewpoint. Did you buy? Did you sell? Did you do options? What did you do? I did actually have a couple options. I did sell a $20 covered call as well as a $15 put for this week. Both expired worthless, free money all in all. And actually, I think this was relatively a good week for me. So I'd always do weekly options, and I think I got around 1,500 in premiums. I try and target roughly around 500 a week, but yeah, this week was absolutely amazing. So let me know your viewpoint and if you do that type of options as well. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers, so definitely pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.